As Joe mentioned, looking at the Budweiser lineup for the Mets, Ricky Henderson shackled in Game 1, 0 for 3 against Maddox and 0 for 4 for the night.
And Bob, Kevin Millwood is similar to the other Braves starters in that he feels his position well, and he's a pretty good athlete. He throws a heavy fastball, good slider, and he also throws a curveball and a change. But his real strong pitch is a sinker. He throws a heavy ball, and a lot of hitters hit a lot of ground balls, and he takes good care of the ball as far as keeping it on the infield. And let's take a look at the defense. The Braves made a couple of errors last night, and one by Chipper Jones late in the ball game. It cost them a run, but the game was pretty much over by then. But you see again Walt Weiss starting the shortstop, and I think it's because of his ability to catch the ground ball. And with these Braves pitchers, they're going to get a lot of ground balls.
Kevin Millwood comes in on a roll. He threw the first complete game one-hitter in postseason play since Jim Lonborg's one-hitter in the World Series at Fenway Park for the Red Sox against the Cardinals in 1967. A Ken Caminiti home run early in the game was the only hit he allowed as he went the distance. Then he pitched a perfect inning in relief, finishing the game in the 12th in Game 3 of that division series in Houston.
Well, we talked about the fact that Ricky was 0 for 4 yesterday. Ricky is the catalyst for everything that happens on any ball club that he's with, because when he gets on base, things start to happen. Edgardo Alfonso, a perfect second place hitter to Ricky's leadoff, because he takes advantage of the fastballs he gets when Ricky gets on base. When Ricky gets on base, everyone knows what's coming, and that helps the hitter behind him.
Game 2 underway. Ball one inside to Henderson. Jeff Kellogg has the plate. Charlie Relaford at first. Ed Rapawano at second. Jerry Lane at third. Left field line, Jerry Crawford. Right field line, last night's plate umpire, Ed Montague.
And Ricky Henderson is the type of leadoff hitter. I think he's the best leadoff hitter ever play this game. Counts 2-0. He will make sure that his teammates get a chance to see a few pitches here. And against Arizona, you see what he did. He basically destroyed them. He stole 6 bases in 6 attempts. He was on base. He was scoring runs. I mean, he just helps his ball club so much when he gets on base.
More than 1,300 career steals. About 400 more than the number 2 guy and former record holder Lou Brock. 2-2.
He also has hit more home runs leading off a ball game than anyone in the history of the game. I mean, he's just, I again say I think he's the greatest leadoff hitter to ever play the game, because he packages power, a good knowledge of the strike zone, he can run, and he knows his job as a leadoff hitter. And there you see second, third behind Ruth.
Millwood's got it. Henderson's 0 for 5 in the series so far.
Let's take a look at the scouting report on Kevin Millwood. As I mentioned, he throws a heavy ball. I think that's the key. Real heavy fastball, hard slider. He's really worked on his changeup and his curveball. And the one thing that he can do, if he can see the goal line, he can finish for you. He can take you late into the ball game.
Craig Biggio of Houston said after the division series, he looked to me like he could throw all day. He looked like he was a pitching machine, although not nearly as easy to hit as an Iron Mike. Off-speed pitch for a strike to Alfonso.
One of the things we talk about with certain pitchers, we talk about a heavy ball, meaning a heavy sinker. The ball is like a shot put. I mean, when you hit the ball on the handle, you do not hit it on the good part of the bat, it vibrates all up your arm. But it's real heavy, and it's hard to get into the air.
Millwood hasn't lost since the Giants beat him on August 8th. He's won his last 7 decisions. Fouled off 1-2. In fact, Millwood has allowed 2 earned runs or less in each of his last 11 starts. And in that span, he's allowed 43 hits in 86 innings. 1 hit for every 2 innings of work.
Most people will tell you that he was the most consistent Braves starter throughout the season.
Still 1-2 to Alfonso. In fact, a few people close to the club told me that at least a half-dozen times this year, Millwood went into a game with no-hit stuff. And he took a no-hitter to the 6th or 7th 3 times.
Well, that actually tells us more about his knowledge of pitching and how he knows he sets up a hitter than the fact that he has overpowering stuff. He doesn't have an overpowering fastball. He's 90 to 94 miles an hour. He doesn't have a great slider. He doesn't have a great curve. And he doesn't have a great change, but he knows how to use them all in combination.
Another 1-2 pitch. Line to left. And Alfonso just keeps on hitting the ball hard.
I've watched Alfonso for the last couple of weeks especially, and I tell you what, he can really handle the low fastball, anything low. He can handle a curveball. He can handle a low changeup. He is an excellent low ball hitter. As we see here, that's a perfect pitch, knee high and away, and he reaches out and rips it to left field for a base hit. Not many right-handers are low ball hitters. Right-handers prefer the ball up. They're high ball hitters. Left-handers are low ball hitters.
As you were talking about last night, a tough guy to pitch because he will take a pitch like that and pull it. He'll hit almost any pitch anywhere with authority.
You would have figured he was a good hitter that pitches knee high and away. He would have taken it to right field. And the next time up, he may do that. That's the type of hitter he is.
John Olerud, who hit .298 for the regular year, takes ball one. He's had some big seasons. .363 for Toronto in '93, American League batting title that year. .354 for the Mets a year ago. Millwood's 1-0 pitch. In the air to shallow center. Andrew Jones calls and puts it away.
Let's take a look at Mike Piazza last night. He was feeling for the ball all night, and I just think that Greg Maddux had him off balance. I mean, look, these are not Piazza-like swings. He just does not have his balance. See how he's off balance? And I think you have to attribute that to Greg Maddux. He was making very good pitches on Piazza.
Millwood's first one misses. There was some talk before the series of activating Mike Kincaid, who had been a AAA catcher for the Mets this year, and putting him on the LCS roster. Depending upon whether Piazza could really catch, they might have needed a third catcher behind Todd Pratt. They decided against it. 2-0.
The one thing I've noticed about Piazza the last week to 10 days is that he's trying to pull everything. Before, he would take the ball middle of the plate in and shoot it to right field, right center. Now he's just about everything. It doesn't matter where the pitch is, away or in, he's trying to pull it. And that's not normally his style.
Called strike. In 10 innings of work in the division series against Houston, Millwood didn't walk anybody. Against the Mets this year, he was 2-0, allowed them just 7 hits in 15 innings.
Alfonso's not really a base stealer. He's not much of a threat here, and I expect him to let Piazza hit in this situation unless he gets 2 strikes.
Skies it down the right field line. Jordan in pursuit into foul territory. No play.
Well, this pitch is away from him. At least he didn't try to pull it, but he looks like he's confused. He looked like he was looking for something else. Actually, not a bad swing. Watch where his head goes and his upper body. It goes toward the pitch. That's what you want. Toward the outside corner. He didn't pull off of that pitch. That was a pretty good swing, actually.
Full count. Brian Hunter is at first base. He walks over toward Millwood. Shouts something to him. Ryan Klesko was the starter at first last night. There goes Alfonso, and the 3-2 pitch is hit in the air to center, and Andrew Jones, almost in his tracks, ends the top half of the first. No runs, a hit, and a man is left. Up come the Braves when we come back. The lineup Bobby Cox has put together for Game 2. Walt Weiss earns a Game 2 start. Jose Hernandez remains anchored to the bench. Weiss, who had only 23 at-bats in September and had been dropped long ago out of the leadoff spot, comes through with a 3-for-4 performance. And, of course, he's the much better glove man when compared to Hernandez, so he's in there against Kenny Rogers.
And Rogers, you can see, pitched well for the Mets after he came over from the Oakland Athletics. Rogers is a sinker ball pitcher, throws a curveball and a changeup. But he has to stay down. That's the key to his success, being able to throw the sinker and have it moving away from these right-handed hitters.
His first one to Gerald Williams is taken for a strike, although he's not a prototypical leadoff man in that he's a free swinger. Since becoming the guy at the top of the order for the Braves, Williams has done a good job. He became their leadoff man the first week of August. A line drive over the leaping Ordonez, and he's aboard again. He had 2 hits, an RBI, a stolen base, and a run scored last night.
Let's take a look at the Mets defensively, and very, very good defense. The infield defense has been called the best ever. And look at that, only 8 times this year they had 2 errors in a game, and last night they had 2 versus the Braves. So not a good game for them all around, not only offensively, but they made a couple of errors on the defense. Bob, sometimes you have to give the hitters credit, and I think you have to give Gerald Williams a lot of credit there. That was a pretty good pitch from Rogers.
Here's Brett Boone. Rogers chasing Williams back. Williams stole 19, but not a good percentage. He was caught 11 times. The Braves seem anxious to run on Mike Piazza. Of course, the pitcher and how well he holds the runner on has something to do with that. Rogers, the left-hander, should have a bit more success in that area than right-hander Yoshi last night. And he's got Williams, I believe, yes.
Well, what Rogers does is he hesitates with his leg, and he almost got Williams going the wrong way on the first throw over there. Watch his leg. He hesitates a little bit at the top. Watch how he hangs there, right there. See, he hangs there, and Williams takes off, and he's picked off easily. And that was not a balk.
And now he comes to the plate, and Boone takes ball 1.
Now watch his leg. See, he never steps toward home plate and throws to first. He just kind of hung his leg there for a split second, and that's what fooled Gerald Williams.
And not even close. I mean, he had him staggering back. The 2-0 pitch is in there. Brett Boone had an RBI single.
And Bob, I think that pickoff was more important than we realized, because I think they were really going to run on Mike Piazza. He did not make good throws last night, and they were going to test him early here.
Ordonez backhands it and throws Boone out.
Let's take a look at the scouting report on the pitcher, Kenny Rogers. Remember, he started in Oakland this year. There was a good sinking fastball, a curveball, and a change. And he likes to pitch to this Mets defense, and that's getting a lot of ground ball. But sometimes he has trouble avoiding big innings. That's been his biggest problem this year.
And his postseason history is horrid. He was the loser in Game 2 of the division series at Arizona, 7-1, hit hard. A called strike to Chipper Jones. His career postseason ERA is almost 12. He's allowed 15 runs in 11+ innings of postseason work. Oh, 2.
2 pretty good pitches there to Chipper.
Ball and 2 strikes. Last night, Jones was 0 for 1 with 3 walks, 1 of them intentional. He had 45 homers, 31 of them in the season's second half. Two and two. Every time Jones comes up against the Mets, Piazza says, "Hi, Larry," because Chipper hates to be called by his given name, but Piazza says, "I refuse to call a grown man Chipper." I believe Chipper Jones will hear worse than that from the Shea Stadium faithful on Friday night. If High Larry is the worst he hears, he'll consider himself lucky.
Well, Kenny Rogers had him no balls and 2 strikes. Now the count is full.
In the air, left center field. Hamilton and Henderson. Hamilton, the center fielder, will take it. No runs ahead. Robin Ventura will start it in the New York second. Still trying to figure out Atlanta pitching. 6 for 43 against the Braves this year with 15 strikeouts.
Sometimes, Bob, it's because of the scouting reports that they get that they're able to pitch very well to some good hitters. And the point is, every pitcher in the league can't pitch to a hitter's weakness. The Atlanta Braves pitching staff gets to a hitter's weakness. If you have a pronounced weakness, they can pitch to that weakness. If it's a changeup, curveball, whatever it is.
2 balls and a strike. Leo Mazzoni, the pitching coach, alongside Bobby Cox. Three and 1. As was the case last night, there are empty seats in the upper decks. Loads of them in right, a few in left. And Ventura draws a leadoff walk.
After the last half inning, Gerald Williams went over and he was talking to the umpire. He's saying that Kenny Rogers balked when he picked him off first base. And you can see he's very upset. Let's take a look. There's an imaginary line between home plate and first base. And if you step on the first base side, you're okay. See, that's on the first base side. He may have given him a closed hip that looked like he was going to the plate, but he did not balk on that play. Watch it.
A strike to Hamilton.
But he definitely did not balk on that particular play, Bob.
Gerald Williams' protest to the contrary notwithstanding him. But he came close, which is the whole idea.
And I could see that where Gerald Williams would have thought he balked from first base.
Chipper Jones is in close. Hamilton at the plate. Hit .315 for the year. .339 after becoming a Met. Is this a bunt situation?
Well, I don't think so right now, because I think you have to go ahead and swing the bats and find out the first time through order, I think, what you can do against Millwood. And remember, Ventura's not running very well at first base.
Foul back. Ventura's left foot has been bothering him all year. He's also had fluid drained from his left knee. He walked to open the inning. The count 0-2 to Hamilton. Roger Cedeno on deck. A line drive, base hit to center. Ventura will stop at second. The second New York hit off Millwood. One more than he allowed in a complete game victory against the Astros in the division series.
Well, he throws him a little slider, and watch Hamilton stay right on the ball, right back through the middle. See that? He doesn't try to pull it, just slaps it right back through the middle for a base hit. Good hitting there by Darrell Hamilton.
So here's the switch hitting Cedeno, a .313 batter in 1999. He squares to bunt and takes high.
And the good situation here, if you're Bobby Valentine, he doesn't have to just square around and give himself up to move the runners. He can try to drop it down the third baseline and beat it out for a base hit if you want in the sacrifice. And I think it may be a good idea simply because you're trying to get on the board first.
No sign of the bunt. Cuts and tips it back into Perez's glove. Now if he bunts and it's successful, you have second and third, first base open, 1 out. Ordonez the number 8 hitter, and then Rogers the pitcher behind him.
Well, but would Bobby Cox walk Ordonez? I don't think he would in this early in the ball game.
This time he shows bunt, but again he takes the ball. 2-1.
Now, you can work your way into a situation where you can try hit and run. You know, Millwood is always around the plate, and those are the kind of guys you can hit and run on. They're always going to be near the plate. He
cuts on the 2-1 pitch and fouls it back. A moment ago, you saw Bruce Benedict, the former Brave, on the lines at third. As we mentioned last night, he's there because Cookie Rojas has been suspended for 5 games after making contact with umpire Charlie Williams in a Game 4 argument in the division series against Arizona. The 2-2 pitch foul to the screen.
And the good thing for the Mets is Bruce Benedict has been with Bobby Valentine a long time in the minor leagues and up here in the big leagues. They did not have to change their signs. He's using the same signs that Cookie Rojas used. So that has not been a change. It's just the way he delivers them is a little different, but they did not have to change signs.
Another 2-2 pitch. Hit sharply and by Moon into center field. The Mets are going to have the lead. Ventura scores. Hamilton on his way to third. Runners at the corners. Nobody out. 1-0 New York. Good at bat for Cedeno.
Excellent at bat, Bob. And good base running by Darrell Hamilton. This ball is smashed right up the middle. High fastball from Millwood. And remember, we told you Millwood is a sinker ball pitcher. He likes to keep the ball down. Andrew Jones comes over. He charges the ball. He takes a shot at Darrell Hamilton, but he can't get it. And you get a look at Bobby Valentine's reaction. Bruce Benedict's reaction is waving him home. And you can see how excited Bobby is. I think he's more nervous than excited there.
Which brings up Ordonez. There was conversation after the game last night about Valentine not hitting for Ordonez in the ninth. He explained it to us before the game. He said, first of all, if I send Agbayani up and he gets a hit that isn't a home run, all I have left is Bonilla to bat for the pitcher, and he's had 1 at-bat right-handed in the second half of the season. Ordonez looking to bunt and taking ball 1. Although Sean Dunston could have been pressed into service, he had been a shortstop earlier in his career. Valentine said Dunston hasn't taken ground balls on the infield since becoming a Met after the deal with the Cardinals. He also feels that maybe in a 5-game series you do things differently than in a 7-game series, but he doesn't want to deplete Ordonez's confidence because you'll need him at the plate as well as in the field. He bunts and lines it to Hunter, who pegs it to third, and diving back is Hamilton ahead of the attempted tag by Jones. So Ordonez trying to sacrifice, lines out.
This was not a squeeze. This was a safety squeeze. If he gets the ball down past the pitcher, Hamilton at third base is going to try to score. But he did not get it past the pitcher, and they had a shot at Hamilton at third base, but he's able to get back. Good play here by Brian Hunter. He's an excellent first baseman, by the way. He tries to get Chipper Jones, but he makes a poor throw. He doesn't get it up there in time. But it's a great play by Hunter just to charge and get the ball. That was a good play by. He should be happy that he just got the 1 out, because if the ball hits the ground, it's going to be runners at second and third now.
Here's Rogers. And he bunts it foul.
And again, that's the safety squeeze. That's not a squeeze play. They want Rogers to just try to get the ball past the pitcher. If he can get the ball past the pitcher, Hamilton will be able to score.
Rogers has spent most of his career in the American League with the DH. He has 35 career at-bats, 25 of them this year, with 3 hits. He's an .086 career hitter. Pitch out, nothing on.
I'm a little surprised that Roger Cedeno doesn't just go ahead and steal second base, because you put a lot of pressure on the defense to throw to second base with a speedy runner like Hamilton at third. They have to worry about Hamilton at third before they throw to second base. And who knows, they may throw it into center field. And you also stay out of the double play with the pitcher hitting.
So Millwood's got a pretty good chance to get out of this inning while minimizing the damage. There goes the runner. Rogers gets the bunt down. Hamilton stays at third, and they have runners at second and third with 2 out.
Well, last night they tried a suicide squeeze. That's the difference. You know, today these were all safety squeezes. Right there you see Yoshi trying to squeeze with Cedeno at third, and it didn't work out. Everything today has been a safety type squeeze or safety type bunt. But I must say, Cedeno, I think he should have stolen second base first, and then you try to bunt. And that puts more pressure on the defense. He tried to steal it, but Rogers dropped the bunt down that particular pitch.
And Rogers gets credit for the sacrifice. Hamilton at third, Cedeno at second, and Henderson at the plate with 2 out. Strike one as we check with Craig Sager.
Before coming into the batter's box, Ricky Henderson told Coach Bobby Valentine, Manager Valentine, that he had nausea and also stomach flu. He was laying in the tunnel with ice packs on his head and was late coming into the on-deck circle. Bob?
Thanks, Craig. The 0-1 pitch is high.
Ray's pitchers have been known to give guys headaches. But I hope
nausea.
Yeah. I hope Ricky's okay, though. Greg Maddux last night was a headache for all the hitters on the Mets team.
1-1 pitch, punch toward the hole. Boone comes up with it. Millwood covers, and they get Henderson. The Mets score 1, but they leave 2 as we move to the bottom of the second. Jordan, Jones, and Perez in the Atlanta second. The Mets in front 1-0. Ricky Henderson stayed in the game, but by the expression on his face and the way he ran on a ball he might have beaten out, he is far from 100%, as Craig Sager reported. Henderson told Bobby Valentine he was feeling sick and was lying in the runway with ice packs on his head. Jordan hits the first pitch toward Ordonez. He skids to his knees, pops back up, and throws him out.
Let's take a look at Ricky Henderson running this ball out at the first base. This normally is a base hit for Ricky Henderson, so he is hurting. I mean, this should have been a base hit on normal Ricky Henderson, but you can see halfway down there he can't push it anymore. And as he was walking to the outfield, I mean, this is the expression on his face. You can see that he is not feeling very well. And if you're feeling like Ricky looks like he's feeling, I think you need to get him out of the ball game, get him some rest, because you're going to play in New York the next 3 days. Hopefully.
Andrew Jones, a liner for a base hit. He's been slumping. That feels good to him. He was hitless last night and hadn't produced in August and September the way the Braves hoped he would. And now here's one of last night's heroes as we look at Ricky Henderson.
Well, Ricky's hurting. I can tell just his mannerisms and how he's walking around. Just think about Ricky. He's usually a cheerful guy out there. He plays with the fans. He's usually, he's usually just letting everybody know he's having fun. And right now he's not having any fun out there.
Eddie Perez to the plate. A double, a homer, a sacrifice bunt last night, and an outstanding game behind the plate as well.
And we'll have to take a look here. Andrew Jones wants to steal a base, but Rogers changed his pattern there. He went with the slide step. He didn't even give him the Gerald Williams move. He just went with the slide step, which keeps the runner from getting a good jump.
Jones stole 24 this year. Leisurely toss over.
You can hear the first base umpire said that is not a ball.
Charlie Leffert said there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
what he said is he crossed over. Well, he crossed over, but he threw the first base. If you cross, he didn't. What the first base coach is trying to say is if his right foot goes past the rubber, he has to go to the plate, or else it's a balk. That's what he's saying.
Glenn Hubbard is the Braves coach at first. Ned Yost on the lines at third. 1 on, 1 out. And the 1-1 pitch. Another move, and they've got him picked off. Hung up between first and second. Jones making it interesting, staying in that pickle, but eventually tagged out.
And a good move by Jones. He tried to run in to Ordonez, who had come over, so he could get interference. Well, let's take another look. Well, that one is very close. If your right foot goes past the rubber, you have to throw to the plate. And that's what Hubbard and the Braves are contending, that his right foot is going past the rubber.
Alfonso applied the tag. A simple 1-3-6-3-4 play. And the 1-1 pitch to Perez.
All right, let's take another look at the move and let you decide. If his right foot goes past the rubber, and see, because the step is okay, so the question is whether his foot goes behind, and it doesn't go behind his left foot. I mean, that's just a tough move. I mean, it is borderline, but hey, guys get away with borderline moves all the time.
Officially, that's a caught stealing.
Yes.
But in truth, it's another pickoff. The second in 2 innings.
Well, they call it a caught stealing if you take off towards second base. If you dive back and they get you, they just call it a straight pickoff.
So one is officially a pickoff, the one in the first. This one a caught stealing. The 2-2 pitch. Off-speed breaking ball high and away. The Braves have done well against left-handers this year, 29-15 when a lefty starts against them. The payoff pitch in the air to shallow left. Here comes Ricky, but he's not going to get there. Laboring in the field, Perez with a huge turn around first. You know, Ricky Henderson has been criticized in the past, at times with justification, for indifferent play. But this is the playoffs where he always turns it on, and it's pretty clear that he's laboring and not feeling well.
No, even a healthy Ricky Henderson, I don't think could have caught this ball. This one just a little bloop off the end of the bat. So he's not within, 15, 20 feet of that ball. But you're right. Ricky Henderson is laboring out there. I wouldn't be surprised if he only plays this half inning and that's it.
A ball to Brian Hunter. Ricky will give you a variety of expressions both at the plate and in the field. It's impossible to read all of them accurately. Here he appears to be fanning himself as if he might be feeling feverish. Two and 0 to Hunter. Kenny Rogers was 5-1 as a Met this year. He didn't face the Braves in '99. The last time he pitched in Atlanta, it was in Game 4 of the World Series, and he was torched for 5 runs in 2 innings back in '96. But his teammates came back from what eventually became a 6-0 deficit. That was the game where Jim Leyritz hit the huge home run off Mark Wohlers and turned the World Series around. The Yankees rallied to win 8-6. The 3-0 pitch misses, and a 2-out walk puts runners at first and second. Folks, you can log on to MSNBCSports.com as Red Star Barry Larkin brings you exclusive commentary on both League Championship Series. Plus, check out the comprehensive total casts, which provide pitch-by-pitch updates and real-time box scores for each game of the baseball playoffs right on through the World Series. MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports. Walt Weiss, 3 hits, an RBI, a stolen base last night in Game 1. Switch hitter batting right against Rogers. Takes a ball. So Kenny Rogers' postseason record is only 0-1, but he's been lucky with a number of no decisions. He's been shelled almost every time he's taken the mound in the playoffs and World Series as a Yankee or a Met. And he misses to Weiss, 2-0.
And this is what we talk about in the scouting report. Being able to avoid big innings or avoid getting himself into deep trouble, because a lot of this is obviously of his own making here. We got Mora loosening up in the dugout, and maybe he's going to go in for Ricky Henderson, which I think is a wise move.
Yeah, that's Melvin Mora getting loose, and we check with Craig Sager.
And Joe, you're exactly right. Just a moment ago, Bobby Valentine told Melvin Moore to get ready to go in for Ricky Henderson, and he's going out to talk to him right now. So he's been warming up in the dugout, and he is ready. And as you can see, the trader Fred Hina also going out there because Ricky Henderson is definitely ill.
Well, I think what Bobby's trying to do is not, put Ricky in a bad situation. He's going to go out and say, are you okay? And if he's not, then he's going to take him out. And it's interesting, the other two outfielders are coming over as well. They're all going to talk to Ricky and see how he's feeling and see, hey, can you make it for the entire ball game? Because if you can't, we should take you out right now. And there are the other two outfielders coming over. They're concerned about their teammate. And from what we view here, I think this is a wise move.
A wise move, but one that takes a toll. The Mets bench is thin to begin with, as we saw last night. Melvin Mora is a guy they like to use as a late inning pinch runner. He can play outfield or in a pinch infield.
Right. But there's one thing you have to think about. This is a 7-game series, and Ricky Henderson is very important to your ball club. If you get him out of the ball game now, he can go upstairs, start the rest. He'll have all day off tomorrow, and hopefully he'll be in 3/4 of a day the next day. That will give him almost 2 days to get ready for Friday night's game.
No disputing the wisdom of the decision, but the effect is this: you use up a potential pinch hitter, pinch runner, outfield and infield replacement, your most versatile guy off the bench.
True. But having Ricky out in left field may cost you more during the course of the ball game.
So Mora becomes the left fielder and the leadoff man. The count is 2-0 to Weiss. Perez at second, Hunter at first.
A lot of time between pitches here too, Bob.
And Weiss hits it right back to Rogers, who tosses to Olerud to end the inning. Ardo Alfonso steps up against Kevin Millwood as we move to the third. Mets lead at 1-0. Each team has 3 hits. Fastball is high. Last year, Millwood was 17-8. But the Braves didn't use him in the playoffs. He was also on their roster in '97 and didn't pitch in the postseason. So this is his first playoff action.
And remember Bobby Cox said he's a much better pitcher this year than he was last year, even though he won 17 ball games. And you see they're trying to make an effort to keep the ball up on Edgardo. He threw the first 2 pitches up, trying to stay up, get him to chase that pitch because he's hitting the low ball so well. But 2-0, he just has to throw a strike. And his best pitch is a sinker down. And now he goes back up again. Edgardo Alfonso has proven to me, and obviously the Braves and everyone else, that he is an excellent low ball hitter, whether it be a breaking ball, a changeup, or whatever. He really handles the low pitch very well.
Full count. The difference between Millwood last year and this, 17-8 to 18-7, is just one decision going the other way. But when you look deeper, his ERA of 2.68 was second best in the league to Randy Johnson. And he held league hitters to a low .202 batting average. A high pop-up. Weiss at short. When it finally comes down, Alfonso is out. The .202, which National League hitters managed against Kevin Millwood, was the lowest batting average allowed by any National League starter.
There's the numbers. Opposition batting average. In contrast, that Greg Maddux won 19 ball games, led the staff, but the league batting average against him was .294.
Maddux, the Game 1 winner. Millwood trying to reprise his Game 2 victory. In this series, he won Game 2 of the division series against Houston with that one hitter. 1-1 to Olerud, who flied to center his first time up. Threw it by him, 1-2. Piazza waiting on deck. Crowd wanted it. Plate umpire Jeff Kellogg doesn't grant it.
Now Perez wanted it and Millwood wanted it as well. It's a curveball.
Looked like it was right there, didn't it?
Millwood thought it was and Perez thought it was, but the guy that mattered did not.
Fastball, one hop and a 100. He goes to the bag himself. He is the better glove man when compared to Ryan Klesko, last night's starter. With the left-hander going for the Mets, they go with Hunter at first base today.
And let's take a look at Mike Piazza after this. We'll take a look at the replay. This is a smash. This is a tough play. He backhands it, and he beats Olerud to first base.
Two out, nobody on for Piazza. 0 for 5 in the series thus far. Drives one to deep left. Back goes Gerald Williams, and at the edge of the track, he makes the catch. The Mets go in order in the third and lead it 1-0 after 2.5. Kevin Millwood will start it in the Atlanta third. He hit 154 this year and had a homer and 6 RBIs. Ball one from Rogers.
He is the weakest hitter of the better age starters. Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz all swing the bat well. And you see that's the one shortcoming as far as the starting pitching goes here with the Braves.
Through 2 innings, Kenny Rogers has allowed a walk and 3 singles. But he's picked 2 runners off and leads 1-0. He falls behind the opposing pitcher 3-0. Millwood steps out, looks at the third base coach Ned Yost. I think it's a fair guess that the take sign is on here. And on 4 pitches he walks to start the Atlanta third.
Well, the one thing Bobby dislikes most of all is his pitchers walking hitters. But even it's twice as bad if you walk the pitcher leading off an inning. And a pitcher with a 154 batting average.
11 of Rogers' last 13 pitches have been balls.
This reminds me of the start he had against Arizona. He seemed like he was throwing well the first inning or so, and then all of a sudden he just seemed to lose it and not be able to throw a lot of strikes.
His first one to Williams floats high and outside.
Let's take a look at Rogers' delivery with runners on base. Now, this is the first one we'll see on the left is his normal delivery to the plate. He does take his right foot past his left foot over the rubber. That means he has to go to the plate. Now, you decide whether he does it when he picks the runner off at first base. See, again, it's very close. And he does one thing. He turns his heel in toward first base so that it looks like he stepped that way completely. I mean, maybe getting away with something, but he's doing a good job with it.
The 1-0 to Williams. He misses yet again. Kenny Rogers has been an all-star. He once threw a perfect game when he was with the Rangers against the Angels in 1994. But in the postseason, he's been horrid. 3-0. Not in the rotation. The first guy Bobby Valentine has said he'd go to in a long man situation in the postseason is throwing.
Two things are happening here, Bob. Either he's aiming the ball or he's lost a lot because he's only throwing 77 miles to 80 miles an hour now.
There's a strike.
And Bobby's wondering what's wrong as well over there talking to Dave Wallace, the pitching coach.
Three and 2. Some people question Valentine going with Rogers in game 2 instead of Rick Reed, who has pitched very well. If the rotation holds, Rogers would pitch twice in a long series and Reed only once. Reed will pitch game 4, Al Leiter game 3. The payoff pitch. Double play ball. There's one. Alfonso turns it. And the 6-4-3 allows Rogers to breathe easier.
And that's getting the job done. He got the ground ball when he needed it. He was able to come back from a 3-0 pitch count to get the ground ball. And if you get the ground ball for this infield, they will turn it for you. Look at this, just perfect combination. A nice feed by Ordonez and an easy throw to first base by Alfonso.
Boone grounded to short his first time up. Ball 1 to him. Boone came over from Cincinnati with the lefty Mike Remlinger, and the deal that sent Denny Nagel and Michael Tucker to the Reds. Nagel had a good year for Cincinnati as they won 96 games. Boone has played a good second base in Atlanta. Off-speed breaking ball misses 2-1. Line drive, base hit. Over to pick it up is Mora. Boone around first. Wide turn, but he holds with a 2-out single.
Good play in left field by Mora to get over to that ball very quickly and hold Boone to a single. When this ball was first hit, it appeared it was going to be a double for Boone. Watch, he hits it over the third baseman's head, down the line a little bit. He gets out of the box well. He's thinking double right away. And see, this ball is down the line. But a good job by Moore to get over quickly and get in front of it. If you can get over there and get in front of the ball, that usually stops the runner from taking second base.
Chipper Jones takes strike 1. Talking about the Met pitching rotation a moment ago. Masato Yoshi, who twisted his left ankle fielding the sacrifice bunt last night by Greg Maddux and left a few batters after that, is apparently okay. He's taken treatment on the ankle. They do expect him to take his start in Game 5 if there is a Game 5.
Well, the Mets have come out in this ball game and they're trying to pitch to Chipper Jones. They were able to get him on a fly ball the first time up. He starts him off with a strike here, so they're not pitching around him. They're just trying to make sure that they make good pitches, which is a smart move.
Rogers 1-1 pitch. Grounded foul. Another left-hander who works a bit like Rogers. Lots of slow curves, sliders. Sterling Hitchcock of the Padres last year beat the Braves twice in the LCS, including the Game 6 clincher. And a called strike 3. Chipper Jones is done, and so are the Braves. Let's check in with Craig Sager.
And according to Dave Wallace, he told him that you were aiming your pitches. You're not being aggressive. Go out there, throw the ball. Don't worry about making mistakes. Attack them.
Thanks, Craig. 2-0 the count to Ventura. Rogers has allowed 4 hits. He's walked 2, been behind several other hitters, but a couple of pickoffs and a double play grounder have allowed him to walk a tightrope. And now it's Millwood who struggles with his control a bit. Behind Ventura, 3-0. Hamilton will follow, then Cedeno. Strike 1. Full count now. Kevin Millwood is 24 years old, 6'4", 205. This is his 3rd year in the majors. He made the All-Star team for the first time this summer in the course of going 18-7. Struck him out. And it's Millwood's first strikeout. You know, day on Friday night. A ball to Darrell Hamilton. Well, the Yankees will start El Duque, Orlando Hernandez. Any game not started by Pedro Martinez is a staff assignment, I think, for Jimmy Williams' Red Sox, but they'll hand the ball to Kent Mercker to start. 1-1. You know, thinking about those school kids, We know they've just gotten home, at least on the East Coast. 4 o'clock start, a little bit after 4. They can watch this whole game. Some of them are lucky enough to have tickets, and they may have skipped part of the school day, those kids. Slow roller right side. Hunter shovels it to Millwood. That's the second out.
This is back in the second inning. This is the base hit that gave the Mets their run. As Cedeno drove one up the middle, driving in Robin Ventura with the first and only run of the ball game.
Thinking about those kids in New York, though, with the length of some of these American League games, you got school tomorrow. You better be staying up till midnight. Be it work or school, you're going to be bleary-eyed in the morning. We're in the fourth here, 1-0 New York. Cedeno doesn't hit for a whole lot of power. He had just 4 home runs this year, but it was a breakthrough season for him. Bobby Valentine let him loose on the bases. He finished second in stolen bases for the year in the National League with 66. He hits this one down the right field line over toward the foul pole, and a foul ball. So he almost proved me wrong. He hasn't hit many. Well, that one had the distance, if not the direction.
It was a breaking ball that hung inside, which made him pull the ball. He wasn't trying to pull it. Millwood makes him pull it by hanging the breaking ball inside, and Cedeno almost hits it out. And you can see the ball disappear. Anytime the ball disappears from your view, that means it was on the right side of the pole, which means it's foul.
A ball and 2 strikes.
And Cedeno, he thought he had hit a home run. And then he realized that it was foul.
And a called strike 3. Second strikeout for Millwood, both in this inning. To the bottom of the fourth, still a 1-0 game. 3 innings of work. Kenny Rogers has one very ugly shutout going. Meanwhile, Kevin Millwood has retired 9 straight Mets since New York scored the game's only run in the second. Jordan, Jones, and Perez in the Atlanta fourth. Nubbed foul. And let's go back to that near home run off the bat of Roger Cedeno in the last half inning. Just on the foul side of the pole as Joe circles it. But the reaction of Bobby Valentine in the New York dugout was hysterical. Here he is tracking the flight of that ball, trying to get a better look. Oh, no, it's just foul. Jordan with a chopper to Ventura. And that's the first out. Unlike a lot of other managers whose expression may belie what they're feeling, Bobby Valentine lets you know exactly what's going on emotionally. Stoic would not be the word to describe his demeanor. Jones singled, then was picked off in the second. Ball 1-2 him.
Andrew Jones, a first ball, fastball, middle of the plate in hitter. He likes the ball middle of the plate in, and he likes the fastball. Most young hitters do. That's why you see him trying to throw him a lot of curveballs, especially on the first pitch. He goes after so many first pitches that they try to make sure that they make a good pitch on the first pitch. You don't mind him swinging at it, but as long as it's a good pitch.
2-1. Hit toward the middle. Ordonez has no chance. Second consecutive hit for Jones. Fumbled for a moment by Hamilton in center, but Jones stays put. Coming up on NBC, check out an all-new West Wing. The single by Jones was the Braves' 5th hit in 3 1/3 against Rogers. Jones eyeing the Met left-hander warily. He was picked off back in the second. Technically a caught stealing because he got in a rundown, but he was essentially picked off. Piazza wants them to check it first, and Charlie Relaford says no, he didn't go around. Ned Yost flashing signs from third. Perez had a bloop single his first time up. Drives this one to right. Cedeno has it lined up. That's the second out. Here's the first baseman, Brian Hunter. He walked in his earlier plate appearance. Spins him away, ball one. Andrew Jones is just standing on the bag and then taking a walking lead after Rogers commits himself to the plate. Look at this. Now.
Well, they've had two guys picked off, so you have to be careful if you're a base runner at first base. I mean, Rogers has that borderline move going, and he's not being called for a balk, so the only way you can do it, that takes you out of the running game. It's kind of like Ivan Rodriguez behind the plate. He hadn't even taken his knee there.
The throw over, but Jones was still in the starting blocks. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
Jones is actually taking a starting block kind of a stance there, leaning over. He's starting with his foot on the bag, and then, as you mentioned, just moving off as he throws to the plate. That's amazing. Look at that. I think you can get a little bigger lead than that, though.
Called strike one. Jones may be trying to prove a point to the umpires more than anyone else. Wait for the starting gun, Andrew. A bouncing ball. Alfonso ranges to his left. Quick throw, gets him. He had a stance that was more suited to Jesse Owens or right. Michael Johnson or Maurice Green. Well, this was Olympic Stadium at one time before becoming Turner Field for baseball.
Well, Bob, as you mentioned, Millwood has quietly taken control of his game. I mean, he's starting to retire the hitters, not falling behind, not having to give in to the hitters. As long as he stays ahead of the hitters, he's very effective, as most pitchers are.
Whoa, Ordonez has to sit down.
Well, that was a breaking ball that slipped out of his hand. This appears to be a slider that slips out of his hand. Watch, you'll see a spin on the ball. It just slips out of his hand. It wasn't a fastball. See the rotation there. It just slips out. He didn't get the good rotation on it.
And the 1-2 pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ordonez, who, attempting the safety squeeze back in the second, lined out to the first baseman, Brian Hunter. Sounded like a broken bat. In right field, Jordan. That's out number 1.
Maybe we should watch and learn some new tricks.
I'm with you. Here's Kenny Rogers. Fouls it off. You know, the Met bench is very thin to begin with. And now they've had to pull Henderson and use Mora. Their best left-handed pinch hitter, Matt Franco, hardly ever faces a left-handed pitcher. Only 7 at-bats against lefties this year. Bobby Bonilla, switch hitter. They only want to use him from the left side, and they clearly prefer not to use him in the field. Sean Dunston doesn't want to play the infield anymore. At least it's not his preference. Rogers stays alive. They have only 2 catchers, so you're reluctant to use Todd Pratt. There's Dunston early in the game as a pinch hitter. I bring all this up because late in the game last night, they were down by 2 with a man-on tying run at the plate. Ordonez was the hitter. And some question Bobby Valentine's decision to let him bat, but all those things entered into it. Benny Agbayani was in the on-deck circle to hit for the pitcher, his best right-handed power source at that point, but Agbayani never got to the plate as Ordonez was retired to end the game.
Well, the one thing I read in New York, the final game of the season, he said Bobby Valentine said the one mistake he made in the series that he was
called strike three.
The one mistake he made in the series that the Braves swept here 3 weeks ago was that he pinch hit Bobby Bonilla for Ray Ordonez. And he says he wasn't going to make the same mistake again. He says that Ordonez deserves a chance to hit, and he's going to get 25, 30 at-bats in this series, and he did not want to pinch hit for him that early in the ballgame. So it was more Bobby saying he made a mistake the first time. I'm not going to make the same mistake again. So now you have to decide whether it's a mistake or not. But he says he wasn't going to make the same mistake again.
Here's one of those bench players, Melvin Mora, pressed into service because Ricky Henderson felt feverish and nauseous, had 2 at-bats, and then had to be taken out of the game from left field in the middle of an inning, replaced by Mora. 2-0 the count to Melvin, who hit just 161 in limited at-bats. He's a 27-year-old rookie. And he drives this one to deep left. Goodbye. It wasn't strategy, it was necessity. But it worked for Bobby Valentine and the Mets.
And maybe the Mets are underestimating Melvin Mora because, I mean, he got a big hit in the final game of the season weekend.
Henderson sits and Mora trots.
It's a high fastball, and it's in a little bit, and Mora turns on it and just drills it over the left field wall. No doubt about this ball. As soon as he hit it, he knew it was a home run.
And a strike to Alfonso.
Take a look at this pitch. Inside a little bit, and he just whips the bat through. That was a pretty nice swing right there.
Slow roller. Brett Boone waits on it, then pegs to Hunter to retire Alfonso. So first, the aching thumb of Mike Piazza brings on Todd Pratt. He homers to win the division series. Henderson gets sick. Mora steps up. He swats one out. Walt Weiss, the first man up in the Atlanta fifth. Kenny Rogers has been very shaky, but he takes a 2-0 lead into the bottom half of inning number 5. He's allowed 5 hits. He's walked a couple. It seems as if he's been in constant trouble. That's strike 1. Ball and a strike. The home run by Melvin Mora that gave the Mets a 2-0 lead in the top half of this inning is his first major league home run, regular or postseason. He had only 31 regular season at-bats. He had 8 homers in the minors this year.
Rogers just missing with the curveball. He's tried 2 in a row, and they're pretty good curveballs. They were out of the strike zone, but at least he's not hanging them.
His 2-1 pitch hit down the right field line. Big trouble if it's fair, but a foul ball in the corner.
This is the ball hit down the right field line. Now, a right-hander, when he hits the ball inside out, it really slices. That ball started about 20 feet fair, but you could see it just continued to slide toward the line, and it wasn't even close.
Walt Weiss, a member of championship teams with Oakland, an all-star last year, slipped to 226 at age 35 for the Braves in '99. Taps that one foul. Jose Hernandez got most of the play at shortstop in late August and through September. Weiss made a crucial play, though, for them in extra innings in Game 3 of the division series in Houston. Drew the Game 1 start. Played flawlessly in the field and delivered 3 base hits, so he's back in there today. Full count.
And Bobby Cox says he's actually swinging the bat better from the right side, so this kind of works into their situation. There's Jose Hernandez. He has more power, but he's not as good defensively as Walt Weiss is.
Payoff pitch. And we'll do it again. The pitcher, Kevin Millwood, is on deck. Hit for Weiss, his 4th in less than 2 full games. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Melvin Moore's first Major League home run was caught by a Braves fan in left center field who threw it back onto the grass as is customary in Wrigley Field in Chicago. A Braves bat boy then gave it to a kid in the stands. Bobby Valentine wanted the ball for Melvin Moore, went over and made sure an exchange was made. So a kid is happy he got a ball, got a chance to meet Bobby Valentine, and Melvin Moore has a keepsake. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, thanks, Craig. Well, Bobby Cox been trying to rally his troops here in the beginning of this inning. He walked down the bench. He told the guys, come on, guys, let's go. Let's just stroke Rogers this inning. There's a long way and a lot to play here. Let's get it going. Bob?
Thanks to both Craig and Jim.
Well, I think they're in a situation here where Millwood, not a good hitter, should go ahead and bunt. I think they're going to bunt Weiss over to second base. Let's face it, you're only in the 5th inning, and Bobby Cox is correct. There's a long way to go. If you can get one here, one there, I mean, you're right back in this ball game. Well, Kenny Rogers is keeping Weiss close, and that's important because if they bunt the ball, they'll have a shot at him at second base. And Weiss is doing it the right way. He's getting his lead and not moving. He's getting there, and he's has a safety lead, so to speak. He's getting there and not moving until the ball's on its way to the plate.
Millwood looking to bunt and sends it foul. He didn't have a single successful sacrifice bunt this year.
That's amazing when you're not a good hitter. He had 154 as a batting average. I mean, you better at least know how to bunt.
But he's a big, strong kid, and he did have a home run.
At this point, Bobby's more interested in a bunt.
I guess so. Squares, bunts it up in the air. Olerud with a catch, and Weiss back to first.
That's one of those situations where they were yelling for him, and maybe to drop that ball, let it drop, and throw Weiss out at second base. Then you would have had Millwood on first base at the worst because Millwood didn't run.
Potential double play and certainly a force out to erase the better base runner.
Now watch when Millwood pops the ball up. See, he doesn't run. So if you drop it or trap it, which is legal, you can throw to second base and at least get Weiss, a speedy base runner, off the bases. And there's Bobby a little bit upset with the fact that he couldn't get the bunt down.
Along with one of his coaches, Pat Corrales, the former manager at Texas, Philadelphia, and Cleveland. Gerald Williams off the glove of Rogers, picked up by Ordonez to Alfonso for one and to Olerud on the 1-6-4-3 double play. Man, this made a charmed life. He and the Mets lead the game 2-0. And in the top half of the 6th, the first hitter is Olerud. And that one's out of play, chased into the corner by Gerald Williams.
Bob, this is a double play that saves Kenny Rogers in the last inning. He gets a glove on it. Watch how quickly Ordonez gets the ball in second. And how quick. I mean, that is, neither one of them hold it in their glove. It's just like a bounce off, and they congratulate each other. Said, another job well done. Those two guys are very quick, and that's one of the reasons that people have said this is the greatest infield ever. And I can't argue with them.
Next one to Olerud, high fly ball to right. Ryan Jordan. One out on the New York 6th. Now Piazza, 0 for 2 today, 0 for 6 in the series thus far.
He's had better swings today, though, Bob, than he did in the ball game yesterday. I think it's because of the pitcher. Greg Maddux had him completely off balance after he jammed him a couple of times.
Down and away for ball one.
And the last at bat, he actually really hit the ball well. He just didn't get it under it enough to drive it out of the ballpark.
A dreary, overcast day. Not a speck of sunshine to be found, but at least the rain is held off. It was raining heavily earlier. 2-0 pitch, skied to center. Andrew Jones gliding over with those fluid motions of his, tucks it away. A ball to Ventura.
And see, this is a good hitter's background right here. You can see the ball on a day like today. But when he's throwing out of the sunshine into the shadows and maybe even back into the sunshine, it's really difficult for a hitter to pick up the rotation on the ball.
Since the second inning, when the Mets took a 1-0 lead, Millwood has retired 14 of 15 hitters, but the one he didn't get went yard on him. Melvin Mora in the fifth, his first major league home run. 3-1.
They have made sure that they keep the ball away from Robin Ventura. There you see Melvin Mora talking to Edgardo Alfonso, and they've done a good job of just staying away. You see it's a setup out there again.
Lazy fly to right. Ryan Jordan makes it a 1-2-3 New York sixth. To the bottom half, 2-0 Mets in game 2. Familiar scene in Atlanta, postseason baseball. Tomahawk chopping. 6,000 empty seats last night. Looks like about the same number for game 2, a late afternoon start. Brett Boone grounded out and singled so far. The 0-1 pitch is in the dirt.
Bobby, you mentioned the fact that Kenny Rogers has this shutout going, and one of the reasons he's had 2 double plays and 2 pickoffs. And as they say, they don't put pitchers on the scorecard, just numbers, and it's 0 on the Braves side.
Those pickoffs are no surprise. It's in the scouting report. He had 9 of them this year, 5 with Oakland, 4 more after he came to the Mets.
Well, I think it's really made a big difference in this ball game because the first inning, Gerald Williams was going to take off, and Mike Piazza has not thrown well in this series and the series before. And the Mets, the Braves, I'm sure, wanted to test him early.
Kenny Rogers 1-2 pitch. Way high and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brett Boone, who'll be followed by Chipper Jones and Brian Jordan in the 6th. The Mets have lost 14 of their last 15 games at this ballpark, and 19 of 25 overall to the Braves, Atlanta or New York, the last 2 years. Ordonez, forget about it when you hit it anywhere near him.
I can't imagine a shortstop going 100 games without making an error, which is his regular season record. These playoff games do not count as far as the record is concerned, but he has 100 consecutive games without an error. The shortstop, that means you have to catch the ball cleanly all the time. Third base, second base, you can knock it down, pick him up, and throw him out. Can't do that at shortstop. So that's amazing to me. 100 straight games without an error.
Chipper Jones 0 for 2. Slow curve for a strike. The record had been held by Cal Ripken somewhere in the 90s. I think it was 95.
Right.
One and one. As great as Cal was at shortstop, one of the very best, and his knowledge of the hitters, his positioning, his sure-handedness, you can't sell any of that short. But in addition to the routine play, Ordonez makes the spectacular play more often than a guy like Ripken. No disrespect intended toward Cal.
He makes Ordonez makes all the great plays. Ripken made all the routine plays plus a few, great plays. Ordonez makes a lot of great plays and the routine play.
Foul back. Of course, a guy like Ripken, so knowledgeable, will make what would be spectacular plays for others look routine by anticipation and positioning and moving on the pitch. Chipper Jones was walked 3 times last night, still looking for his first hit of the series, and fouls it back and holds 2-2.
Well, they have not tried to pitch around him in this ball game. He's hit a fly ball to center, and they struck him out on a fastball inside, a called third strike. They are just trying to make sure that they keep the ball off the fat part of the bat. Inside corner, outside corner.
A drive down the left field line, foul. Sends them scattering in the first row, some of them for cover, others in pursuit of the souvenir.
Well, this is a breaking ball that he tries to get down. I think he's trying to almost bounce it and get Chipper to chase it. You see it's a curveball, and Mike Piazza has his glove on the ground, but Chipper catches it out front and pulls it foul.
Still 2-2. Speaking of shortstop play, the guy many regard as the best ever with the glove, Ozzie Smith, is in the house today. That was once virtually a unanimous opinion. Now with Omar Vizquel and Ordonez, there's a debate. The 2-2. Full count. Turk Wendell is up. Oral Hershiser was throwing earlier when it would have been a long man situation when Rogers was struggling. Now we're into the 6th. So Wendell might be the next guy to come on. Masterful it has not been. Scoreless it has been to this point. And Jones, after fouling several off, works him for the walk. Tomorrow is an off day. The teams travel to New York. Game 3 of the series on NBC, 8 o'clock Eastern Time from Shea Stadium. Pair of left-handers, Glavine and Leiter, get the assignments. Jordan is twice grounded out. Ball 1. It should be a wild and passionate scene in New York over the weekend. Let's hope it's only that. Jones skips back. He stole 25 in 28 attempts this year.
What Jones should be doing is taking a one-way lead, meaning he's only going back to first if the guy throws over toward first. He's not trying to get a good lead, and I think that's exactly what he's doing, a one-way lead.
Rogers working to Jordan, who's 0 for 5 in the series so far. In the air down the right field line, pretty well hit. Cedeno over toward the foul pole. It's gone. It hit the pole and tied the game.
Chipper Jones, and you can see this is a sinker away, and Jordan being very strong, he's going that way. He was trying to hit the ball to right field, and you can see right here he knows it's deep enough. It's just a matter of whether it stays fair or foul. Hits the foul pole, and we're tied. Take a look. Fastball away, and he goes the other way with it. He wasn't trying to pull the ball, and it hits the netting.
Ball and a strike now to Andrew Jones. He's 2 for 2, and the game is tied at 2. So it was Brian Jordan's first hit of the series after he knocked home 7 runs with 8 hits against Houston in 4 games. A line drive from Jones, and now he's 3 for 3. Mora gets it back in. Jones, who had been slumping, has a perfect day going at the plate.
Well, you see Rogers upset with himself because Chipper Jones is a fastball hitter and he likes the ball middle of the plate in, and that's where he throws it. Now watch, and Jones is Rogers very upset with himself because look at that, middle of the plate in fastball, and Chipper rips it to left field for a base hit. Nice try there by Robin Ventura. But Rogers very upset, with himself. He knows that he did not make a good pitch there.
Here's Perez. Eddie's 1 for 2. A long drive to left. Back goes Mora to the track, to the wall. Gone. Second time in as many games he's gone deep as Rogers unravels in the 6th.
Well, in our scouting report, we talked about Rogers. As long as he was pitching well, in control, he was fine, but he has trouble staying out in the big inning, and this is another big inning for the Braves.
The pitching coach, Dave Wallace, comes out to remove Rogers. A walk to Chipper Jones. Then Brian Jordan, who told Jim Gray before the game he planned to make the Mets pay for pitching around Chipper. Homers to the opposite field, ties the game at 2. Jones whistles a single into left, and Eddie Perez whacks one into the seats in left, and just like that, it's 4-2 Atlanta. Atlanta leads by the score by which they won game 1, 4-2. Rogers is gone. Wendell is in. Perhaps a batter too late.
Well, what we said in the open was that his scouting report is he has trouble avoiding the big inning. And that's exactly what has happened here. The Braves have come back for a big inning. Let's take a look at the last home run. He got hurt with fastballs. One away to Jordan, one in to Andrew Jones, and this one in to Perez. Fastballs in. These right-handed hitters are able to turn on it. And you can see the joy in the Braves dugout. And this is Bobby Valentine throwing his hat. I don't think he was just saying, you messed up out there, Kenny Rogers. I think he was thinking maybe I should have gone out to get him before he pitched to Perez.
Well, he had Wendell warming up and ready. It was already tied at 2, and Andrew Jones had just scorched one to left for a single, his 3rd hit. You have the right-handed hitting Perez up and the lefty Rogers on the mound. So maybe that was the time to make the change.
Well, and plus that, if you bring Wendell in, they can't pitch hit for Eddie Perez because, they're short catchers, and by the same token, Eddie Perez is going to stay in the ball game, especially in a tie ball game. But, it's all, it's a matter of feel. Do you feel that Kenny Rogers is done? Then you take him out. If not, you let him go another hitter.
Alfonso to his left, juggles it, and Weiss will reach on an error. There's a rarity.
A real rarity in that he only made 5 errors during the regular season. He and Ordonez maybe had the best ever. Ordonez made 4 errors, and he made 5. And this is a routine play, no bad hops. See, it's routine hop. He just probably takes his eye off the ball. Let's see if he takes his eyes off the ball, because this is just a routine play. I mean, he makes this 90% of the time.
Wendell to Millwood, who fouls it off. By the way, here are the updated stats for Kenny Rogers as a playoff and World Series pitcher. 16 2/3 innings, 19 runs allowed. Career postseason ERA 10.25. Millwood grounds it to Ordonez. He'll throw him out, but the Braves score 4 times in the bottom of the 6th. They're roaring in Atlanta. Rogers once sang, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, and Bobby Valentine now realizes he should have folded with this Kenny Rogers before he got a chance to throw a pitch to Eddie Perez.
And Bob, one thing to make note of, when Bobby Valentine was throwing and kicking his hat, it wasn't to embarrass or show up Kenny Rogers. He was upset with himself as well for not out of the ball game. He had the opportunity to bring Wendell in to pitch to Perez, and he didn't do it, and he paid the price, and he knows it was his fault as well as, Kenny Rogers.
Hamilton, Cedeno, Ordonez in the New York 7th. The pitcher spot comes up 4th in this inning. I don't know if that entered into Valentine's thinking at all. If Rogers could get him out of the inning, then they put a man on, they could hit for him in this inning. He doesn't burn a pitcher, but it burned him.
Bob, I think one of the most difficult decisions a manager has to make is when his guy's pitching a pretty good ball game and you're leading and all of a sudden things go south. How quickly do I take that guy out? I think that's the most important decision a manager has to make in a situation like this. And I'm not sure there's a right or a wrong time to do it. You just have to have a feel for what you want to do.
The 2-2 pitch, an attempted check swing, foul tip back into Perez's glove, and Hamilton is down on strikes. The 4th strikeout put in the book by Millwood.
And Millwood is throwing the ball well again. Look at this high fastball. And Hamilton gets a little piece of it, but the ball goes into Perez's glove anyway. He tries to check his swing, but much too far.
First one to Cedeno, who narrowly missed a home run his last time up. His long fly ball to right was just foul. Then he struck out. He had singled earlier in the game. An RBI single in the 2nd.
And Bob, as we pointed out, in the scouting report, Kenny Rogers has trouble avoiding the big inning. We also pointed out that Kevin Millwood is a good finisher. And we can see that now, that he is basically has this game under control as far as the Braves are concerned.
This is his 101st pitch. Hit solidly to right center field. Brian Jordan will run it down.
This is a high fastball, and Cedeno got a base hit to drive in a run on a high fastball. First time up now. This one is drilled into right center field. Good defensive outfielder is Brian Jordan, and he just kind of runs this one down. They have a good defensive outfield when they have Jordan, Jones, and Williams in the outfield.
Here's Ordonez, 258 for the year, 0 for 2 today. Right center field once more. Jordan calls Jones off, and Millwood works a quick 1-2-3-7. Stretch time in Atlanta. 4-2 Braves. 7th for Atlanta. Gerald Williams bluffing a bunt and taking a ball. He's singled, then was picked off first in the 1st. In his next 2 at-bats, he grounded into double plays. Poke toward Olaru. He'll take it himself. More New York baseball tonight, this time at Yankee Stadium. That's the former Yankee shortstop and manager, now one of their advanced scouts, the Stick, Gene Michael. Looking at the Mets and the Braves, possible World Series matchup with the Yankees. To the count to Brett Boone, who's 1 for 3. Turk Wendell in relief of Kenny Rogers, who took a 2-0 lead in the 6th, but left behind 4-2.
And there you can see the shark's teeth hanging out of Wendell's shirt.
I guess if you run into him, scarlet billows start to spread. Another cutting-edge reference from about 1959. I'll try to work in something about Frankie Lyman and the teenagers before this is over. Full count. Struck him out with a good fastball. John Rocker with some calisthenics before he begins to throw. He came on with 2 out in the 8th last night to strike Olerud out and then got the save. Finishing up in the 9th. Bobby Cox told us before the game he could use him for an out in the 8th and then have him finish. Certainly he can work an inning. And we're headed toward that time. Chipper Jones 0 for 2 with a walk. He walked in the last inning ahead of Brian Jordan's game-tying homer. So for the series to this point, he's officially 0 for 3 with 4 walks, 1 of them intentional. 2 out, nobody on in the 1-1 pitch. Again, good heat from Wendell.
Well, Wendell's best pitch is a slider, so when he turns the fastball loose, it gets on you very quickly. Most of the time you're looking for the slider because that is his best pitch, and this fastball upstairs right by Chipper Jones.
Two and two. I'm told that among Turk Wendell's many idiosyncrasies is his fondness for the number 9, clearly 99. This should be his favorite year of his career, 1999. Full count. He insists that the numbers on his contract, as much as possible, be 9s.
Well, if you get over 6 9s, it's real good.
That'll be
right?
good. And he walks Jones, but I guess if you're going to pay him $1 million, he prefers that you pay him $999,999 and maybe 99 cents. Well, have they tempted fate again? They walked Chipper Jones ahead of Brian Jordan.
Well, the last time they did that, they had to pay for it. Fastball away. Jordan hits a 2-run homer down the right field line to tie the ball game.
Here he takes down and away.
And there's the slider that Wendell is so famous for.
The homer his last time up was Jordan's first hit of this series. And a line drive is speared at third base by Ventura, who apparently didn't realize there were 2 outs and thought he was going to get a double play. That was all you needed to do, Rob. Franco had 14 pinch hits this year and a major league record 20 pinch hit walks. One and one. At the start of the 8th last night, Valentine sent him up. First, a bid for a hit, and Hunter denies it.
Well, Hunter's an excellent defensive first baseman, and it helps a lot that he's left-handed on this particular play because he could extend out farther than he could if he was right-handed. And a nice catch there. I mean, look at him. He gets ready, he reacts, and he goes and gets it.
Started to say that last night when Franco was announced, Bobby Cox pulled Maddox, went to the left-hander Remlinger on a double switch, and Franco was pulled back without ever getting to step to the plate.
But I think we may see that a lot in this series from both sides, making the opposing manager use up an extra man because everyone is playing with short-handed as far as extra men are concerned. They have more pitchers on their staff, except Bobby. I don't think they can make him use up all of his, but yet and still he made Bobby Valentine use an extra man last night.
Bobby Cox had a fine game from the dugout last night. Two balls and a strike. Rick Reed, who is scheduled to start game 4 for Bobby Valentine, was one of the two throwing in the Met bullpen, perhaps just getting some work in. Melvin Mora grounds it through Chipper Jones. He had some adventures last night. One error officially charged. Another few balls juggled while he was able to get the out eventually, and in this case it goes right under his glove. E5.
Well, it's an error right there. Chipper just, it goes underneath his glove and goes into the outfield for an error, I'm sorry. And you mentioned Chipper was having some trouble at third base last night, but he was able to make all the plays but one.
Up steps Alfonso. He pops it back at the plate, but Perez has no play.
These are some of the plays Chipper Jones had to make last night, and that one he had to avoid the bat of Mike Piazza, and he still makes the play to first base. Ricky Henderson chops one down, he knocks it down and throws him out. Tough play on a pop-up, and this is the error that he made. He couldn't find the handle. Then he made a fine play to end the ball game. So overall, it was okay. He had one error that it cost him an unearned run, but it did not have an effect on the outcome of the ball game.
Alfonso is single, popped out, grounded out. Hit 27 homers during the regular year. A chopper foul. And Alfonso, as you know, has been sizzling of late, hitting almost everything hard. Home run in the one-game wild card playoff at Cincinnati. 3 home runs, including a game-1, game-winning grand slam in the division series against Arizona. And the first of his homers in that series came at the expense of Randy Johnson. Here's the 0-2. And Alfonso hangs in. One thing among many about Alfonso, he's one of those hitters who can turn up the dial. He will turn good heat around. You want to take it up to the mid and high 90s against him? He may tattoo it. Another 0-2 pitch. Misses.
He has such a good, solid approach to hitting. Not a big stride, not a lot of movement.
Got a little piece of it.
Good pitch there by Millwood. This pitch is off the plate, and it's a tough pitch to lay off of with 2 strikes. Goes off the plate, and Alfonso lucky enough to foul it off, and that's all he was trying to do, make contact. Watch how he stands there, very quiet bat, not a lot of movement.
A fastball hit hard toward the gap in left center field. It's one up against the wall. Here comes Mora being waved home. Alfonso pulls in with an RBI double, and it's a 1-run game at 4-3. And this Alfonso just continues to make a name for himself in the postseason.
And this is what a quiet bat can do for you, and he turns up the dial. This is a good fastball from Millwood. He gets a little bit of the plate, and he finds the gap in left center field. Even Andrew Jones can't run this one down. It's a line drive up the gap, and Andrew Jones can only play it off the wall. And now the tying runs at second base. And Bobby Cox is on his way out of the dugout.
Looks like Millwood's 115th pitch will be his last. Tying run in scoring position with 1 out of the 8th. 3 guys to choose from. Would he go to Rocker this early? Remlinger is the other left-hander. Olerud, the lefty swinger, is the scheduled hitter. Piazza is behind him.
Well, he's trying to find out if Millwood has had enough. I think that's what he's doing. You see, he didn't make the call until he got out there and talked to Millwood.
In the last 13 years,
Cox, such a good manager, is he demands trust from his and honesty from his pitching staff. I mean, he goes out and asks them, how are you feeling? And he does not want them to lie to him. He wants them to tell him exactly how he feels. A lot of times a pitcher will tell you, I feel good, and he really doesn't. He told Kevin Millwood when he became a part of his staff, he says, Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz, they're very honest with me, and I want you to be honest with me when I come out there. So that's why you saw Bobby Cox go out there and talk to him before he actually pulled him out of the ball game.
We asked Cox before the game, would you use Rocker before the 9th in this game? Rocker threw 24 pitches in an inning and a third last night. He said, yeah, maybe for 1 out in the 8th, but he can't resist this matchup with 2 outs still to be gotten in this 8th inning because Olerud is 0 for 8 lifetime against Rocker. Half of those outs, strikeouts, including last night when Rocker blew him away on 3 pitches.
He definitely did not have a good at-bat or a good approach to Rocker last night, which tells me that he's not picking the ball up well out of Rocker's hand.
Tried to check his swing, and he did.
The reason you have trouble if you're a good hitter like Olerud is that you do not pick the ball up quick enough. And you see very borderline check swing there, but I think he did check. You do not see the ball as quick as you like out of a pitcher's hand. That's why a good hitter has problems with certain pitchers. Because if you're a good hitter, you can make adjustments to a pitcher. But if you're not seeing the ball well, it's tough to make adjustments.
Olerud's 0 for 3. He fouls the fastball off. Piazza's on deck. 1 out, 1 on, 1 run already in the New York 8th to make it 4-3 Atlanta.
And this is a little different approach than Rocker had last night. Last night, all the fastballs were away. This time, he comes inside to Olerud, and he can't handle a fastball. He struck him out with 2 fastballs away in last night's ball game. Let's see where he goes here.
He's got him set up 1 and 2. Time is called.
And the time was called by Eddie Perez. He had called a pitch and maybe decided I don't want it in that location, so he had Rocker step off after he called timeout.
He got him. The bat goes flying, but the ball is in Perez's glove.
And a completely different approach by Rocker in this ball game than he had last night. He struck him out with fastballs away. Today he comes with a fastball in, and he finishes him off with a breaking ball away. And if you're John Olerud, you have to look fastball first in order to handle Rocker's fastball. Completely fooled on the breaking ball, and he just kind of throws the bat. That tells you how much he was fooled on the pitch.
And now they're going to walk him and put the go-ahead run on first base.
Well, that's because you have Robin Ventura up next, and Robin has not been swinging the bat well all year against the Braves. And I think Piazza has been swinging the bat well today, and I think Bobby Cox noticed that he is swinging the bat well, and he's going to take his chances of matching Rocker up against Ventura.
And obviously Cox thought this all the way through. I'll bring in the lefty Rocker. I'll have him face Olerud. If he gets him out and first base remains open, I will walk Piazza, and then we'll take our chances with Ventura.
And I think it's a pretty good move for 2 reasons. One, Piazza does not run real well. So just a base hit in the gap wasn't even driving the go-ahead run. He's going to have to hit the ball out of the ballpark almost to drive in the go-ahead run.
So it's Alfonso, the tying run at second. Piazza, the potential lead run at first. 4-3 Atlanta, top of the 8th. Ventura has had 4 at-bats in his career against John Rocker. He hasn't hit a fair ball yet. 4 strikeouts.
Well, so far in this series, they've been able to pitch him away and get him out. We'll see if Rocker stays away as well.
Strike 1.
Rocker gives you a lot of body, a lot of arm motion out there, so it must be very deceptive from the left side to pick the ball up. And that's why he is so difficult for left-handers to hit.
That's Todd Pratt, the reserve catcher, on deck to hit for Hamilton should Ventura prolong the inning. Inside, 1-1.
And that pitch was just to keep Robin honest and say, don't lean out over the plate trying to find my curveball. This is just a pitch to straighten him up. And he does that. Now that opens up the outside corner, outside part of the plate again for him.
Rocker's last pitch clocked at 98. 2 balls and a strike.
If you're Robin Ventura, you say, okay, I'm not hitting his breaking ball. It counts 2-1. I need to sit on a pitch right here. I would sit on the fastball. If he throws a fastball, I want to make sure I have a good swing at it. I'm not handling the curveball anyway, so I look fastball, and if he throws anything else, I take it.
Fastball on the outside corner, a perfect pitch.
Yeah, I was looking for the fastball, but not in that spot. This is a beautiful pitch by Rocker. As you mentioned, almost a perfect pitch. Knee high and away. Tough. That's a crossfire coming across the outside corner from the left-handed Rocker. Now if you're Ventura, you just have to look for the ball and try to adjust. I don't think you can sit there and look for a fastball or a curve. Just look for the ball and try to make the adjustment.
The 2-2.
Pitching by Rocker.
Everything according to Bobby Cox's plan. And the heart of the New York order. The 3-4-5 hitters are 1 for 20 in the series. Reaction led by Millwood, who still stands to be the winning pitcher as Rocker kept it a 4-3 game as we head for the bottom half of the 8th. Out of the Met bullpen comes their closer, Armando Benitez. They use him here for an inning while they're behind by a run to try to keep it close. He has worked 5 innings this year against Atlanta and retired 15 straight hitters, striking 9 of the 15 out. 22 saves. It would have been higher had he been their closer for the entire year. John Franco, the veteran left-hander, was the closer at the beginning of the year before an injury sidelined him, and that role fell to Benitez. Andrew Jones, 3 at-bats, 3 singles, starts it in the 8th. And can't catch up with the fastball from Benitez. Only Billy Wagner of the Astros held opposition hitters to a lower batting average this year in the National League than Benitez. Quickly ahead 0-2.
I've seen Benitez pitch quite often this year, Bob, and most of the time I've seen him, he's unhittable. Every once in a while he'll make a mistake with the slider, but now he goes right after Andrew Jones, one of the best fastball hitters in the league, and throws it right by him. Then he comes back with the splitter. He doesn't throw the slider as much as he used to. He had some bad experiences hanging sliders in the playoffs. Now he uses the splitter.
Well hit to left. Going back is Mora to the track. To the catch. That brings up Eddie Perez and brings us to the Merrill Lynch Player of the Game. Succeed on your own terms with Merrill Lynch Unlimited Advantage. So this is the play of the game. The home run that snapped a 2-all tie in the 6th. The 2-run shot made it 4-2. It's 4-3 now.
Not to be confused with player of the game, right?
Correct, which I just did.
No,
adding the ER. Which can be seen later tonight on NBC.
Well, I was going to say I didn't get a vote. There's Javi Lopez. That last pitch from Benitez, 100 miles an hour.
That is some high-octane gas. He puts Perez in an 0-2 hole. And he's 2 for 3, including his home run. And And he's dispatched on 3 pitches. Benitez pitches like an angry man.
Bobby threw him 3 pitches, 100, 99, and another one 100 miles an hour. I mean, this fastball is unhittable. A high fastball up and out of the strike zone. If you swing at it, you're going to miss it. Look at that. I mean, that is just overpowering. And we've seen Perez turn around a few fastballs in this series.
Well, he should have hit the 99. That was the best chance he had in between the 2 100s. Brian Hunter.
This is one of those days he looks like he's unhittable as well as the days I saw him pitch. See, and it's almost unfair for a guy that's throwing 100 miles an hour to be able to throw a splitter off of that. I mean, because you're dropping 12 to 13 miles an hour off, and it's just, you'll make your hitter hurt himself trying to swing at that splitter, because if I had a chance, I'd always swing at the splitter.
1-2. No Brave has reached base against him this year. 17 up, 17 down. Benitez, a hero these days in Queens, a villain a year ago in the Bronx, when as a member of the Orioles he drilled Tino Martinez in the back and got an 8-game suspension. Sit down, Brian Hunter. 3 quick outs, 2 of them Ks. On to the 9th with the Braves nursing a 1-run lead.
And now, a Channel 2 News Update.
ETUU, Channel 2, Anchorage.
NBC's coverage of the National League Championship Series is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By MasterCard. MasterCard, proud sponsor of Major League Baseball and fan of the great American pastime. And by Sun America, the retirement specialist.
There's nothing like a postseason chess match. Yes, that's John Smoltz you're looking at. John Rocker got the 2 outs he was asked to get in the 8th, striking out Olerud and Ventura. Darrell Hamilton, left-handed hitter, scheduled to lead off in the 9th. As soon as Sean Dunston came out to bat for him, Bobby Cox walked to the mound. Rocker was out there already, yanked him, and brought in Smoltz. Now, Smoltz is scheduled to pitch Game 4. This would have been his day to throw anyway. This is the crowd reaction. First, when Rocker left, they might have thought he was hurt or just be disappointed because he's such a colorful character and they want to see him work the 9th. So there were a few boos and gasps as Rocker left. But when the bullpen gate opened and Smoltz entered, here was the crowd reaction.
To us, Bobby, but Valentine doesn't have the ability to go in and ask Bobby Cox what he's thinking. Bobby Cox said he does not like to throw Rocker more than 20 pitches in an outing. He threw 24 last night, and he came in and threw 9, so he doesn't like to have him pitch that many, throw that many pitches in successive outings. So he waited until they announced the right-hander, pinch hitter, and then he goes out and brings John Smoltz in.
This for Smoltz is his first relief appearance ever, regular or postseason. But Cox went to his starters in relief when he had to in the division series against the Astros. Bobby Bonilla getting ready just in case. He used both Maddox and Millwood in the 12-inning Game 3 against the Astros in the division series in Houston.
Well, he's only carrying 9 pitchers, and that's the reason that he can carry 9 pitchers. He figures he can use Maddox, he can use Smoltz, and he probably can use Millwood all in relief.
So here's Dunston. The 321 is the combined average between St. Louis and New York. Actually slightly better as a Met, 344. Strike 1.
John Smoltz, the leg hit 229 against him this year, and a lot of it has to do with his new delivery, the right-handed hitters, that is. And he drops down now. He comes a little bit sidearm, and he actually gets a little more movement on his ball than he did when he came straight over the top.
A pop back of short, shallow left, ranging out there is Weiss, and in foul ground he has it.
This will be interesting to see what John Smoltz does in his first ever relief appearance. Talking to Bobby Cox, he said he's seen Smoltz go out there where he throws like the first 25 pitches, all fastballs, and he doesn't mix anything else in. Let's see if he does that here. The first 2 pitches to Dunston were both fastballs. He's just using his movement to get the hitters out rather than changing speeds. But with a left-handed hitter out, we'll see if he keeps that in mind.
The speedy Cedeno stands in. Chipper Jones in on the grass at third. Bonilla pacing behind Valentine. That's ball 1. Ordonez is on deck. Last night when Ordonez represented the tying run of the 9th, Valentine let him hit. That's a strike. John Smoltz is one of the great postseason pitchers in baseball history. In the playoffs and World Series combined, his record is 12-3. 1-2 as he looks in this case not for a win but a save.
And so far he's gone to nothing but fastballs and just using the movement toward the outside corner here against Roger Cedeno.
The 1-2 pitch. Outside 2-2. A broken bat bounder toward Weiss, who charges, throws on the run, and gets the diving Cedeno. You know, that's a hustling effort, and yet I always wonder, you never see a sprinter at a track meet dive to the tape. You don't get there faster that way.
Well, sometimes it's the emotion, Bob, as you're saying. You're trying so hard, you get into a lean toward first base, and you end up diving. We saw Kenny Lofton hurt his shoulder in the similar play. You see the lean he's got, and sometimes guys feel like they're leaning forward so much, this will get him there quicker, but it will not.
If it's a tag play, that's one thing. If it's any base but first, that's another thing. Well, Ordonez is scheduled, and this time it will be Bonilla, unlike last night. Bonilla and Smoltz have a long history. Bobby is 15 for 51 lifetime. That's 294. 1 home run against Smoltz.
Good low fastball hitter.
A strike.
So far, John Smoltz has thrown nothing but fastballs, just relying on his movement.
And he's ahead 0-2. Bobby Bogue got just 119 at-bats this year. Pinch hitting for Ordonez. Valentine's last shot. Piazza looking on.
There's something in the outfield and right center field they got to pick up and throw back into the seats.
Bonilla hit 4 home runs and hit 160 in just over 100 at-bats.
Mets with their fingers crossed. Ray Ordonez, Melvin Mora pulling for their teammate.
The 0-2 pitch. A ball and 2 strikes to Bonilla, a 6-time All-Star, a 4-time 100 RBI man. Now at age 36 and plagued by injuries, coming off the bench for the Mets. The 1-2. Got it! And the Braves take a 2-0 lead in the series to Shea for Friday night's Game 3. Jordan's homer tied it. Perez's homer gave them the lead. Rocker 2 big strikeouts to set it up. And Smoltz, in his first relief appearance since 1986 at Lakeland when he was a Tiger farmhand, John Smoltz gets the save. The Chevrolet player of the game, there were many candidates. We go with John Rocker. He has been devastating out of that Atlanta bullpen. Jim Gray is with John Smoltz.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. John, congratulations. This is the first time that you have appeared as a reliever. You're 12-3 in the postseason. Tell us about your first save.
I'll tell you what, there's an immediate rush. I didn't know what to think other than I just wanted to throw strikes and rely on low